This is Galaxy Log for September of 2021, and it's subtitled End of an Era. So the first galaxy, or actually galaxies we're going to go to, is in the outer parts of Hercules. And it's NGC 6500 and NGC 6501. I actually had these guys on a list to do a while ago and just never got around to doing them. But I'm glad I've done them for this Galaxy Log, and you'll see why in a few minutes. Here's a closer-up view of the area of the two galaxies. Fairly easy to find if you're star hopping. And here's the near view image. The date was September 2nd, 2021. Here's the particulars of these galaxies. 6500, the spiral, 12.2 magnitude. Surface brightness is a little low. The size, they're fairly small. They're out there, about 140 million light years. 6501 is elliptical, and it's brighter, which most times the elliptical is going to be the brighter galaxy. Telescope was the 12-inch f4 Dob. The eyepiece was a 4mm, 300 magnification, so we're up there in magnification. Sky conditions actually were really good that night. It's been a tough summer here in the Northeast, getting good skies, not only clear skies, but good transparent skies. The sky this night was actually really good. And I was really pleasantly surprised on how good it was. Seeing conditions were also really good, so it had good transparency and good seeing conditions. So we'll talk about the galaxies. This one here is 6500, and in the eyepiece it showed a little stellar core, slight oval shape to the inner part of the galaxy. The galaxy actually extends out farther, but it's not seen here. If you look at a photograph, you could actually see the galaxy extends much farther. Then here is the elliptical 6501. You can see it's a little bit brighter, a nice bright stellar core, and the inner region stood out much more. It was round, comparative to a slightly oval shape of the spiral. It was more round. And then also we have this. This is Supernova 2021 WUF. And this is supernova in the spiral galaxy 6500. And at the time when I was viewing this, it actually came up pretty well. It was maybe just around 14th magnitude, maybe slightly under 14th magnitude. But it stood out pretty well. It was pretty easy to see. But it was just neat to be able to see a supernova. A lot of times, you know, it's kind of weird because when you look at it through the eyepiece like this, that it looks like it's pretty far away from the galaxy itself. But like I said, if you look at a long exposure image of the galaxy itself, you can see where it extends more. So this supernova is on the edge, very edge of 6500. But it was neat seeing a supernova and a pair of galaxies. The other thing too was there's a nice double star, which I created here. It actually makes a really neat view, having a double star and then the two galaxies and then with the supernova. So it was a really neat view. I really enjoyed this view. Next, we head to the constellation Aquarius, where a nice spiral galaxy, NGC 7606, can be found. Here's a closer-up view of the area where NGC 7606 is located. Real easy star hop, actually. Real easy star hop. And here's the near view image. Of course, same date, September 2nd. Here's the particulars of this galaxy. Probably bright. It's 10.8 magnitude. Surface brightness isn't bad. It's probably good size. Its distance. Telescope, of course, is the 12-inch f4. Here is the with the a 9mm eyepiece, 133 magnification. And as I said, the sky conditions were very good, which was nice to have, because this galaxy from Pennsylvania sits fairly low. Aquarius is a lower constellation in the sky, so a little more atmosphere to look through. But but the transparency in the scene this night really helped, and I thought this eyepiece did the best view. It was a 100-degree field. It really did a nice view of this galaxy. And here it is. You can see it's inclined. It's a spiral galaxy. It might have showed a little bit of a faint stellar nucleus. It was kind of hard to make out, but I thought I was seeing a faint stellar nucleus. Fairly bright inner region here. The galaxy is inclined from the northwest to the southeast. A little bit of modeling, but I thought the overall view of the galaxy, situated between these two field stars, a fairly neat field itself of stars, stood out well. It is a really nice guy. I like to get to a little bit darker sight to view this galaxy again, and a little bit darker southern part of the sky would really help. But otherwise, the galaxy is a really nice galaxy to view. Highly recommend it. Okay, for our next galaxy, we're going to dip into the Messier catalog and into the constellation Cetus with the bright galaxy M77. Here's a closer up view of the region where M77 is located. It's another easy star hop. In fact, if you have a fairly large finder scope and you're in a fairly dark sky conditions, it can be seen in a larger finder scope, like a 70 millimeter or an 80 millimeter finder scope. And this was a different night. It was a couple nights later, on September 6th. Here is particulars of this galaxy. It's a bright galaxy. You can see it's brighter than 9th magnitude, 8.9, high surface brightness. Size is pretty big. And its distance. Now the size we'll get into a little bit as why it's this large. The telescope here this night was the 4.7-inch f7.5 ED refractor. Eyepiece was at 5 millimeter and gave 180 magnification. Sky conditions were also very good this night. It actually might have been a little bit better this night than it was the previous night. So here's M77, a near view image. With the refractor at 180 magnification. And you can see the stellar core, very vivid stellar core, stands out really well, real active nucleus in this galaxy. And then the bright inner region of the galaxy here, very round, stood out really well. A little bit of modeling. Now the size here comes from, if you see in an astro image, you'll see a faint ring all the way around this galaxy here. Stretches out like this. And actually in a larger telescope, from a really good dark sight, you can actually see that ring, a faint ring around it. But not with the smaller telescope. And the sky, like I said, the dark sight's good, but it's not fantastic like that. But overall, I thought the view is, with this 5 millimeter eyepiece at 110-degree field, really did a great job on this galaxy. And as I said, you can see it in finder scopes like 70 millimeter, 80 millimeter, and of course telescopes, with higher magnification. It's no problem to view this galaxy. Okay, we head to the Great Square of Pegasus. For a nice trio of galaxies, NGC 7769 trio. And here's a closer up view of the field And we have NGC 7769, a smaller NGC 7770, and the larger NGC 7771. And here's the near view image. This is a few nights later also. This is from September 10th. And here are the particulars of these galaxies. It's an actual trio in the sky. Fairly bright as far as the lead galaxy, 7769. Then the telescope this night was the 22-inch f4.5 Dob, the 6mm eyepiece, which gave me 417 magnification. And again, the sky conditions were very good. So let's talk about the galaxies. This is the spiral galaxy here. The face-on spiral galaxy is 7769. And it showed a nice bright stellar nucleus, a large, disk, very mottled, with very hint of spiral. It gave a spiral look to it. Not saying I actually resolved the spiral line, but gave a spiral look to it. A really nice galaxy to view. It really is. And then the smaller galaxy here is NGC 7770, which is almost 14th magnitude. But in the 22, it stood out really well. It has a slight oval shape to it, a little bit of modeling to it, a little bit of a brighter core area to it, but pretty much it was overall, it was just this oval, fairly distinct disk. But the most interesting galaxy, I thought, was NGC 7771, which is the largest, and it came out really well. And you can see there's an interaction going on here between these two galaxies, between smaller 7770. And what I saw in the 22 was a faint core. It wasn't quite stellar. It's a little larger than stellar, but it stood out fairly well. And the galaxy extended really well. It's not an edge-on galaxy, as you can see. It's tilted slightly. But what was interesting, though, was that I could see a lot of modeling to it and some really nice detail, but some faint extensions sticking out on both ends, from the eastern end and to the western end, particularly in this region right here. You could really see a faint extension coming out, and really a neat view, a really neat view. This was, I think, of all the views I had that night with the 22, this was definitely a favorite, and actually was the last view I had that night. But what a view! What a view to have a trio of galaxies in there and seeing detail was a real treat. This is a summary of the September 2021 galaxy logs. And first, we'll talk about the dark site. Actually, all 3 nights were from this dark site, though the one night was not supposed to be, and I'll explain it in a minute. This is the dark site I've been using pretty much this past year. It's about a 30-minute drive north of me. Pretty good elevation, nearly 1,400 feet. The sky conditions there can be pretty good. It's surrounded by a large forest. So here's a night view of from satellite of the area. You can see it's not too bad. The third night that I had with the 22 was not supposed to be at this dark site. It was actually supposed to be at another dark site, a darker site. About an hour and 15-minute drive northwest of where I live, and higher elevation, just under 1,800 feet elevation. And there was 3 of us going to be observing from that spot at night. And I got up to the area to drive up the mountain, and started going up the stone dirt road, going up the mountain. And about a quarter way up, there was a large tree down right in the middle of the road, right across the road. Very large tree. and completely blocking the road. So there was no way to get up to there. Fortunately, the other two club members who were going to join me that night were not near the site yet. Well, I guess there was one fellow who was actually pretty close, and I called them and told them that what was going on, that we couldn't observe, so we had to turn around and go back to this site again. So that's just the way it is, you know. Can't do anything. Couldn't move the tree; it was much too large. So back, like I said, that third night we were with my 22. I was actually hoping to get to a darker site, but we had to go back to this site. So it's just the way it is. So for the 12-inch telescope is my Orion Optics UK 12-inch f4, which I did 6500 and the Supernova in 6501, and also NGC 7606. Great telescope. Really, really love this telescope. And then for the second night, and the observation of M77 with my Skywatcher 4.7-inch f7.5 ED refractor, and I have it on a Celestron CG5 AS mount. It's an older mount, but it works really well with the refractor. In fact, this is the photograph here of me at the telescope was taken that night. Then for that third night, and here's the Astro Systems 22-inch f4.5 Dob with wonderful Steve Swayze optics. But it's also an end of an era. A few days ago, prior to this recording, I sold it. After 23 years, I thought it was time for somebody else to enjoy the views of this telescope. It was kind of bittersweet, handing over the keys to this magnificent beast. This scope was heavily influenced many other Chessmont members to go big, and I'll never forget the views through this telescope. One night in particular was back in 2015. It was around my wife and I's anniversary. We were in West Virginia. We were vacationing in West Virginia, and we had this scope. And we were at Blackwater Falls State Park. We had dinner there. So we decided to observe from there in one of the big parking lots. And it was a great night. It was a terrific night. A night that we both enjoyed. The views were just spectacular. And that night will probably be the night I remember most of using this telescope. But and like I said, it was sad to let it go, but it was time. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going for a replacement for this telescope. We'll see. And but hopefully the new owner will get the same great views through this telescope as I had for the past 23 years. Those eyepieces for NGC 6500 with a Supernova and 6501 was a Stellar View 4mm ultrawide eyepiece. Nice eyepiece. And then for NGC 7606 with the 12-inch was a Stellar View 9mm Optimus, which I really like this eyepiece. It's if you would like one of those really extreme wide field eyepieces, 100-degree eyepieces, this is a good choice. This is a really good choice. And then also another is the APM 5mm XWA, which I viewed with the refractor with M77. Has a 110-degree field of view. It's really great. I also enjoy this eyepiece. In fact, I bought this eyepiece and the Optimus at the same time at the Northeast Astronomy Forum a couple of years ago, and really enjoyed the views through these eyepieces. And then for that trio through the 22-inch is as I mentioned before in previous Galaxy Labs, is a favorite eyepiece is the Teleview 6mm Delos, and it gave quite a view with that trio and Pegasus, and it happened to be, as I mentioned, final view through the 22, and what a match that was with the 6 Delos and the trio of Galaxies, and through such a spectacular large telescope. So that's it for this Galaxy Lab. Clear dark skies and happy galaxy observing.